Kicking off our annual backpacking trip here in 2024. Little late summer, early fall action here in the Sawtooth Mountains out of Boise. Oh, scratch that. We're no longer doing that. We got smoked out of the area and decided to play it safe. Got back in the rental car and backtracked 7 hours, Pinedale, Wyoming, to get ourselves into the Wind River Range, which some of us have been to in the past and had good vibes, good experiences, and we decided it was time to come back. But we got Rompy here, newcomer, so he's getting excited about this place. We're all kind of rebalanced our minds here to embrace the new trip and kicking it off here on day one.
Looking forward to it.
Got Rompy behind me and Bolzer and Grant, some of the originals up there. Day one. Easing our way into the Bridger-Teton wilderness here, about 3-ish miles in. Nice and gradual so far, and no smoke. Nice weather. Good company.
That's really cool. Kind of looks Yosemite.
All right, Rompy trying to make it across our first stream crossing today. I ended up having to get where he was and then just stepped in myself. Felt the safest, but certainly the wettest as well. Made it home to our lake for the evening. Now we just got to find the spot for us. False alarm on lower Cooks Lake. We made it to upper Cooks Lake and looks pretty dang sweet.
This is one of the highlights of the day right here. Not only because we're at camp, but sweet view. As you can see, some flat ground, good campsite, some peninsulas. We got a lot to explore tonight.
Here we are, day one, Wind River Range. We are at our campsite in the upper Cooks Lake. Heck of a view, especially for first day, but really for any day. We're already confident to say top 10 campsite. Our Grant's gonna walk us through his high and low of the day.
Well, high has got to center around this campsite. This view and the layers, I think, are my high for the day. Low?
Any lows?
Yeah, maybe back at the hotel. Kind of a rough night and just kind of, I guess, lack of sleep to start the day. Maybe that's the low.
All right. For me, high is certainly here, but since Grant said it, I'll toss in the continental breakfast today, where we had our private chef making us omelets. That was pretty great before a trip like this. But yeah, the day in general, got to see so many views along the way, and I think that was pretty incredible too. Low was crossing a stream, and it was a little dicey, so I decided to just walk through, and I dealt with wet feet, and their shoes are still drying. Al?
Yeah, low of the day was back at the hotel right when we were leaving. We walked out the doors and it smelled like smoke. That was a very low point. Thankfully that cleared and we don't really notice that at all at this point. And high of the day is definitely this campsite. Like, this is epic.
Rompy?
Yeah, echo similar highs and lows. Low, maybe for me personally, just getting back into the swing of things here with the hip. So a little tougher, but made it here so far. High, yep, the view down, coming down to this campsite, definitely a high. Great temps today, 50s or so, and comfortable the whole way, so no complaints there either.
You can see home is behind us. There's Rompy. Our tents are back there. But yeah, we have a heck of a view here tonight.
Okay.
That's our 6:30 wake-up call with some lightning and thunder, and now some snow. But we think we're gonna hunker down here for a few more minutes and maybe ride this out. This is what we're dealing with, though. I'm in my tent right now, just sticking the camera out. So I'll have to watch the movie later to see what it looks like.
You've been told it looks ominous.
Yes, we've been told it looks ominous. What's going on out there?
Well, first morning in the winds. Appears to be snowing. Just a little bit. Take a look at that.
Oh man,
Wow.
these tents are getting heavy.
Wow.
We've been laying back in bed for about an hour stalling.
Look at Grant just covered over there.
Look at me.
Woo!
I'm gonna go stop up my tarp so it's not scraping down.
Day 2 here in the winds. Got probably our latest start in the last 5 years. 10:30 a.m. we're kicking off, but we had to sleep through some of that snow that was coming down. And it was also storming at the same time. Thunder, lightning. But it's making for some good looking views here. And we're gonna get wet today, but we're pumped right now. A lot of ground to cover today, but we got time to do it, and we'll check back in later on.
And like the fake rain in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it. Maybe with the face.
We found our Christmas tree here. It's a little full though. Midway through day 2 here. Well, a bit further than midway. We actually just did our last pass of the day, and now home stretch here. We're all a little waterlogged and a little tired, but the scenery's been pretty epic today, so well worth it. Well, we've made it to night 2 here, camp 2 at Victor Lake. We got Rompy here taking us down. We're gonna leave our tents up top there, all nestled in and all cozy, but head down to this peninsula here. Try our hand at a little fishing, have some dinner, maybe a little whiskey, who knows.
So we're doing highs and lows of the day here. This is the end of day 2. Beautiful spot. You can see that right behind Grant, but kick us off.
Yeah, day 2, highs and lows of the day. For me, both of them stem from the morning. We got some thunder snow, and
You've been asking for that.
I've been asking for it. So I gotta say that's one of my highs, to have experienced thunder snow in the backcountry. We're talking waking up at 6:30 in the morning with thunder and lightning right on top of us, in the midst of snow. So that was something neat. Lows, I mean, we were going through snow most of the day, and the wet feet. It's just tough hiking when you get wet feet.
Yep, you're right about that. All right, Garski, you're up. Does it matter that this went black on me?
Nope, it doesn't.
Good.
I mean, I would like to say the high was just licking this Nutella right out of this container.
Jesus.
So it was probably a second high for me. It's up there, but I think high was the moment we stepped out of the tent and it just stopped snowing, and you got that excitement of like the beautiful terrain. I mean, we were at this incredible campsite, and it just got to another level with the snow. So that plus like the first few miles of hiking, that excitement, it was like, as we said, it was like Christmas morning for us. That was pretty awesome. The downside really is just, yeah, the aftermath of snow. I mean, feet were sloshing all day long, and mine were sloshing the day before as I had to step into a stream to cross. So dealing with some wet feet, but got these big old booties on right now and feeling good.
That's another high of the day right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his new nickname might be Slosh.
Or booty.
All right, Rompy, what can you add to this?
Right, highs definitely that morning view with snow on all the trees made it worth it. Also, just us all being willing to tackle the challenge in the morning. Not necessarily right away, but
2 hours late.
that was also a high. A little bit of a nap, got to sleep in a little bit. Sneak in a few extra Z's in the morning before we departed, which is probably the safe thing to do. Yeah, low is definitely the trail conditions. A little bit slick, tough to see where you're going, stepping in water, twisting ankles, that sort of stuff.
Okay,
Ideal.
that checks out. So we've got 3 people that said the low was sloshy feet. So I'll try to change that up a little bit. The low for me was getting ready to wake up at 6:30, and the amount of downpour that we had that trapped us in our tents for 2 hours. That was a low. I wanted to get going. I wanted to be out there and running around, seeing everything, but we were stuck. But as a result of that, we came out and saw one of the most beautiful, like, snow-covered mountainscapes probably that I've ever seen.
We called it a top 5 campsite at a minimum.
Yeah, no doubt, because we saw the beautiful scenery and it's like natural green mountainscape colors, and then completely whited out the next day, and that was amazing. All right, here's where we are. Our tents are over there. If you can see them below that mountain. Got some awesome colors going on over there, because we're on this peninsula right now, so we're surrounded by water.
Just hitting the road here on day 3. Pretty good night last night. A little chilly. A little ice in that water filter bladder. But we're moving now and the sun's shining, so warming up. Got about 10 miles today to do. Some uphill here, start. And then a bit of off trail to find our next home. Breakfast spot, morning 3, 10:45, 6-ish or 5-ish miles of hiking in so far, 1500 vert. Rompy is over here enjoying some, what are you eating?
Oatmeal and coffee. Standard.
All right.
Day.
All right. Got our water filtering. Rompy and Grant carried that dirty bag up with fresh water so we could eat here at the top of this here spot. Got Grant here. Grant's enjoying a little coffee.
Cup of Joe.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
What do you got over here, Al?
Frosted mini wheats and coffee.
Very nice.
Just after I cleaned up the oats.
Okay, cool. Yep, later on we'll be checking in from our new home tonight at our new lake.
Alright, here we are, just finished lunch, some unnamed lake here up in the mountains at about 11,000 feet. We're about to leave the trail and head up that way.
Gotta scramble across that somehow. Get up that ravine into uncharted territory for us.
And then we're going to be taking that type of terrain for about 10 miles off trail, checking out lakes, going over passes. It's going to be wild.
Midway, I shouldn't say midway. We've just done a little chunk here, but it looked a little dicey, and so far so good. Just steep, very steep.
Well, we went all the way up there to the pass we thought we were crossing. Turns out it's not the right one. So we came all the way back down.
I mean, not all the way.
As far as this pass goes, all the way. Anyway, we're a little demoralized. Now we go up there. We try.
Second try.
Well, Grant's up there at the top. Apparently it's doable. Doesn't feel like it.
Fire lake, baby. Look at that view behind us. Wow.
Wow, well, and we were way back there, that series of 3 lakes. We were on the other side of that, and well beyond as well. Half of us made it up to the top of Hay Pass, and this is what's on the other side. A lot of mountains. Still looking pretty rugged, and we are aiming for over there. This is home for tonight. High Route, Wind River Range, Alpine Lakes region. It was a brutal day. Lots of hiking on these rocks. But here's a reward here. The views as you've seen. Here's the guys hunkered down behind a little wind shelter that somebody left there before. Snap time. Everybody's licking their bowls tonight because we're super freaking hungry. Grant's making us something special. Grant, what are you making?
We've got some peach cobbler for dessert tonight.
Woohoo!
After a hard day's work, it's good to feel rewarded.
Amen.
All right, we are on day 3 and it's time for some highs and lows.
Start with Robbie. Highs for me, both breakfast and lunch had excellent views of excellent lakes, and some of the highs there for sure. Lows, I'll let other people describe kind of the lows for them. I think for me, yeah, just the total body rock hopping for the last couple miles before camp. You know, that's tough. So.
Okay. Al, you're up.
Okay. Highs, probably the 3 lakes that we hiked by before we got to the off-trail section. So the trail, we were wondering if it was going to fade away or kind kind of stay there, and it stayed there just barely, but it was like right next to the lakes, which was really beautiful. So I really enjoyed that section. Lows, that was when we started the off-trail section. Grant and I picked the wrong pass. So we went up about 400 feet of boulders in the wrong direction. So then we had to come down 400 feet of boulders and then restart at a different pass. So that was kind of demoralizing. But overall, great day. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, sir. All right, Garski, tell me what's up.
Well, I think highs, it is food driven. I actually had the chicken coconut curry from Peak Refuel this time. Probably a 4 out of 4. And after what we did today, it was very welcome. And then also, since I'm cheating here doing 2, I mean, this view we've had here is pretty spectacular. Lows, yeah, I mean, I think it's just a combination of the incorrect pass and then more and more passes and more boulders. And I had a moment on our way down the second boulder field where I was just like, man, I could cry right now. It was mostly just like you have to walk so carefully to get down. It's not like it was physically exerting necessarily, but tough on the body from a joint standpoint, and then also just a little soul crushing there for a while. But we're here, eating some good food, got you guys, so still a good day.
Right on. All right,
Grant, to finish it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with the low, and my low of the day was bright and early this morning, waking up to wet everything. There was frost everywhere. The tarp shaking it off left a small snowfield. The quilt was wet, the bivvy was wet, everything was wet, and so that was tough to start the day on a cold, wet start like that. The highs have been this camp spot. Phenomenal views, really cool in all directions. Big mountains, huge lakes, nice sunset. Really happy with where we're at.
Kicking off day 4 here. Leaving this lake behind. I'll have to look up the name afterwards, but it's a beautiful lake. It's one of the alpine lakes that are up here on the Highline Trail. And we slept down there just to the right of that peninsula. Got a little later than we wanted, so no fishing, but hopefully that will change sometime soon. But back into this rugged hiking we got going here. We'll be bouldering and a little bit of hiking, sometimes crawling, coming up here for the next 8 miles off trail. Well, we're nearly up our first pass on day 4 of our off-trail expedition on the Highline Trail. You can see way in the distance that peak there, Little Point. We came down that yesterday after already putting in 10-12 miles and going up it. Hiked past that first lake and into a second lake where you can see that there in the middle. That's where we slept. And now Rompy's just getting up here, as you can see, the next pass. So we're doing okay today. Starting with some fresh legs, protein bars, and better to do at the beginning of the day this kind of stuff than the end, that's for sure. Have to work hard here to boil water. We got packs, we got rocks, we got humans. It's a windy place here, the Wind River Range.
She almost ready.
This is breakfast spot. Right on this mountainside with all these boulders. We got our water filtering here. We've upgraded our water systems over the years, and these are pretty slick. There's Grant getting a little bit
A little bit more. And drip by drip, as he says. Not too much, not too fast. And we just navigated along this lake. Looks easy, maybe. Not easy at all. Really no clear route to go. So there was some backtracking, and we didn't feel confident at many points, but we knew there was a way across. That's all we knew, and here we are. And next is to get over that pass. That'll be the actual pass. I was mistaken before. It was just a mini pass, and this is the real one, the first real one of the day. Just finally got up to the top of our first pass, and now you can see way back where we came down yesterday, that far peak, not the far one, but the one below that is a saddle, and then you can see the one lake, two lake, that's where we slept, and then worked our way up here. Coming up to the top of the pass here now to see what our new view is for the next day or so. Looks intense. Rounded the corner here on our way down from that pass and caught a little view of this glacier. You don't see many these days.
Jeez, those clouds are just holy flip.
It's quite windy here. We're hoping to avoid any precipitation here because that's going to make this dicey mighty quick. Woo! Crossing our first glacier of the trip. This was our lunch spot here on day 4. A very chilly lunch, but we needed it badly after summiting our last pass of the off-trail section on the High Line. Now it's downhill from here and a little bit more, a real trail. Those beautiful lakes on the distance is gonna be home tonight. Here's home for the night. Another unnamed lake. We'll figure that one out later, but 3 cowboy campers. One guy in a tent nestled in there against that boulder. Plenty to look at. You got mountains, you got lakes, you got Grant, and many more lakes. This is right up there with campsite number 1 in terms of quality, which is very high. And we are gonna go check out the lake a little bit more and get our dinners going. One more look of where we're staying tonight. This camera might not do it justice, but this water is really a cobalt blue. And we have this whole area and well beyond all to ourselves. It's a real treat.
Day 4 comes to an end. Bittersweet day in the mountains. And it's that time for highs and lows. We'll start off with Mr. Alex Skarsky.
Hey there. I think for me, the high is the overcoming of the last pass of the day and just knowing that the rest was going to be much easier. And then the views that we took in on the way down were also incredible, including the lake that we're looking at right now. And then as far as lows go, the day wasn't really filled with too many lows. It was just more that off trail was just kind of tough on the body again. And I think that's
was the low, although it was doable.
All right. Mr. Alex Bolzer.
Highs of the day, I would say when we got to the top of Douglas Pass, or whatever the actual name of the pass is, the last pass off trail before Indian Pass, and then looking back into the Alpine Lakes Valley that we kind of went all the way through. That was super cool. Lows of the day, maybe just a little bit of anxiety around route finding around the last Alpine Lake. It's always not an easy feeling when you are worried about doing something borderline dangerous. So, but we found our way and it was all good.
True. Mr. Grant Seepkes.
Hey.
Hey.
Highs and lows. Start with some, I think maybe just one low. And this wasn't, I don't even think, a low, but at this point in the trip, muscles are sore and the off trail kind of does a number on the joints. So between those two, muscle and joints, how's the low? For me, the high is this campsite that we chose. We've got a beautiful view and it's just really great to spend some time here.
Very true. Yeah, again, look at this view. Multiple lakes in the distance, multiple peninsulas, giant rock faces staring at us. Awesome.
Can't even see some good stuff up there.
Yep. Just beyond is excellent as well. And Mr. Mark Portal will finish up. One low, we did one short turnaround on our first pass of the day. Kind of got walled out and had to turn back, so I had to give up some gain there. But that's what we have to deal with route finding. And definitely echo Bolzer's comment about the Alpine Lakes Basin. Just looking back at what we conquered was certainly a high. And I think even after the first pass was done, or the second pass, however you view them, one of two or two of three, looking from Indian Pass, or from the first pass to Indian Pass, was, kind of light at the end of the tunnel there, and got to sneak down some real cool rocks and waterways and then climb back up, and that was pretty special too. So brings us to a conclusion for day number 4 on trail.
Kicking up day 5 here, leaving our Indian Basin behind. A little sad, but also it's getting a little smoky here, so looking to move out, get to cleaner air, and check out our last spot, Titcomb Basin. Just hit a fork in the trail, now headed up to Titcomb Basin. It's a little smoky, but we're hopeful the winds pick up and knock that out of there. But anyway, hoping to do some fishing when we get there. Have some trout for dinner. Getting our first peek of Titcomb Basin. Guys have been hyping it up to us for years. And I know this is just the initial view, but so far it's pretty spectacular. And it was a little, almost too easy of a hike to get to compared to some of the other stuff, but we're not complaining. We've worked pretty hard this trip, so a little reprieve from the hiking sounds good to us. Okay, here we are, Titcomb Basin. Had a short day, so we're taking it easy here.
This is what it looks like when dudes are chilling. Chilling in the mountain.
We got a beach behind us, legitimately. It feels good too.
Yeah, the water is quite pleasant, as a matter of fact.
We're not sure how many fish there are in here, which is disappointing since we're pretty hungry at this point. But Rumpy's got a little beach.
I got some lunch going on.
Beach snack going on.
But
But
picnic
looks like 27 pepperonis in that, Sammy. Yummy.
at least.
We're all getting a little hungry here. Might be snack time soon.
You show them where we are.
Well, I showed them before, but we'll show them again. That's what we're looking at from our little beach destination. Wrapping up day 5, a beautiful day 5 here at Wind River Mountain Range, Titcomb Basin. You just saw Mark's little house. Grant's perched up there on a little hill in his bivvy. There's Al's casa. And there's my house. Guys are taking in views from every direction. We just kind of follow the sunset. Here's what we're looking at right now. Smoke, a little smoke in the distance, but very much dissipated from the beginning of the day. So huge relief from us. And now let's get some highs and lows from the group on their thoughts of the day.
All right, it's Rompy. Short day, nice day. High being got to wash off, get in the water a little bit, clean up, feel a little bit more human. Kind of midday when it was still warm out, so no complaints there. Low being no fish yet. Yet is the key word there.
Grant?
Highs and lows for me. This morning is both a high and a low. Waking up from the cowboy camping was really neat. Seeing things in the morning, having coffee. Hot coffee in bed was cool. But the smoke was present. It was palpable. It was gross. So this morning, high and low.
Yeah, we drove 7 hours to get away from any sign of smoke or fire, so we were all a little bummed when we saw that, but things changed.
Yep, I would echo that. Being the low was the smoke, and I'll go back a little earlier in the day till probably about midnight when it probably rolled in, and we could kind of smell it throughout the night. So we kind of knew, like, ugh, in the morning it's going to be kind of rough. And it was, but like they said, it faded throughout the day, and now it's almost as good as it's been. So that's pretty awesome. And the high is just this campsite. Like, take a look around. This is incredible. Titcomb Basin is probably one of the best campsites I've ever stayed at when I did it a few years ago, and it still is when I'm doing it now. So it's awesome.
And for me, I'd say definitely the smoke was the low. I mean, we were, I think at least a few of us internally assessing if things got any worse. Were we going to call the trip short by a couple days, which would have been a real bummer considering we're at maybe the highlight of the winds here tonight. So, I mean, that was a definite low, but then it going kind of away was a high in a sense. I think though the individual high for me is we were hanging out by a beach down there, which was truly like a white sand Hawaiian beach, looking at crystal blue waters and just chatting and taking in the views. That was a high for me. Starting out day 6 here in the Wind River Range. We're doing a little hike here with our lighter packs just for a little day hike out of Titcomb Basin. Breakfast spot, day 6, Titcomb Basin. Standard fare, oatmeal, coffee. Getting a little tired of that after 6 days, but not tired of these views.
It's a nice little morning stroll with light packs. Now we're looking down at that series of lakes. We slept at the second one, kind of right-hand side, where that isthmus is roughly. Gonna do a bit of hiking today with lighter pack.
On our way out of Titcomb Basin on day 6 here. Had planned to spend 2 nights here, but given that the last day was looking like a 15-16 mile day out, we thought maybe we could break it up a little bit. But we're also seeing all that haze, and if it continues or gets worse, might have to call it and just do the entire 16 today at whatever 10-11 a.m. it is. So it could be pretty brutal, but playing it by ear. But we did get to truly explore the basin, and it's got a lot to offer, including a little morning hike and a little off trail up to Summer Ice Lake, which was a pretty special spot. Non-stop views here in the winds. Right there is Seneca Lake, which is where we'll be eating lunch and probably spending the evening as well. Looks pretty big. New territory, about 10 miles out from the car.
Night number 6 on the trail here. We're staying at Seneca Lake. Beautiful lake. They are definitely fishing here. We've yet to catch them. Had a bite, saw some. Still hoping to catch some more tonight, but we decided we'd wait a little later for that sunset, the magic hour. So we're having some dinner here. This little point of this hill just alongside the lake. Everybody's got their meals going. Here's my house. Past Grant's along the way. We'll check out the others later on, but heck of a view here. The views have been top-notch the entire trip. I think maybe comprehensively the most quality views of any trip I've been on, so it's been pretty fun. Our last night here in the Wind River Range, Seneca Lake. We're trying to catch a few fish here. We've had some occasional bites, good bites. I caught one rainbow. There's clearly some fish here, but they aren't particularly interested in what we have to offer so far. But at a minimum, we'll be eating one fish and some good fish broth. Hopefully more. So good. Coming in live here from Seneca Lake. Night number 6. Highs and lows of the day. Who's ready to kick it off?
I think I'll start.
Okay. Go for it, Grant.
All right. High for me was getting up to, towards the top of Titcomb Basin and seeing first the approach to Cullen Pass. That was pretty cool. Kind of brought back some good memories there. And then getting up to Summer Ice Lake. That was a really great spot. And had some great views, had some beautiful colors on that water. So that was really cool off-trail excursion to start the day. Low, the only thing low about today was the smoke to start, and thankfully it's gone away. So feeling pretty good.
Yep. Rompy would say, agree on the smoke. That's low. Ran from that and ended up with a little bit here. That's the way life goes, but gladly avoiding having to bail early on the trip, so that's good. It's quite hot today. Had a lot of sun this whole trip, so that's been high and low. Overall pretty good weather, but yeah, a little bit sunburned for everyone probably, and agree on the Summer Ice Lake high. Agreed.
Karski here. I think for me, the high, I'm going to do two. I'm going to cheat here, but I think with breakfast, it was just kind of a nice view. You're on the north end of the basin, Teton Basin, and got to see the series of lakes and kind of how expansive the basin itself was. Plus, it was just that early time of day. Very, very pretty. And then the other high was getting here and being able to stay because the smoke had dissipated a bit at this other cool spot, and then catching a trout, which we're now eating for a little after dinner snack.
Okay.
And also drinking the broth from the soup. So a couple of highs there for me today, but just good to have one more day in the trail when it was in jeopardy. As far as lows, really not a bad day at all. I think the only thing was just that fear initially that we might have to call that trip short due to the smoke that we saw in the distance, but not so bad we had to leave.
Yep, not too much I can add to that. The low obviously was the smoke concern, and that faded, so turned out to be just a really nice night actually. And the high of the day for me was Summer Ice Lake. That was really cool. Super turquoise, bluish color, which was kind of unique to that lake compared to some of the other ones we'd seen. So that was really cool. We did a nice off-trail hike to get up there, which was enjoyable.
That'll do it for highs and lows, unless we have anything tomorrow that we need to add.
The high for tomorrow is going to be the first meal
Yes.
off-trail.
We're thinking pizza in Pinedale. They're probably not known for it, but tomorrow they're going to be.
It's going to be great.
Day 7. We're on our way out of Seneca Lake, headed back to the car. About 8 miles to go. Did want to share an update that some trout were caught. So we did get to check that box. We had a little trout for dessert last night. And then also Grant caught a nice beautiful rainbow this morning. Perfect mirror reflection here on this little alpine lake as we make our way out. Temperature's just perfect hiking. There's a smidge of smoke in the air, but really the skies are crystal blue. This place has been very, very good to us, and we'll be excited to get some showers and good food, but also sad to depart this special place.
I thought that was a fish or a bird or something.
Pretty good hiking here, huh, guys?
Yeah, it's cool.
It's really nice. These little lakes just randomly popping up. Cool for.
Alright, boys. That's a wrap.
Want to get the picture of this?
Boom.
It's Jover.
Another trip in the books. Another good one. Post-trip meal here, downtown Pinedale, Wrangler Cafe. We hope to have good things to say.
All right, our 6-night, 7-day trip in the Wind River Range has come to a conclusion. We've had a night of sleep in the hotel, although I think all of us actually maybe slept a little bit more than we do on the trail, oddly enough, so maybe we're missing it. But we're clean, rejuvenated, fed, had some nice meals, explored Twin Falls, Idaho, and now we want to reflect on the trip and give you some overall highs and lows of it and completion. So I'll start things off. For me, I think the high would just be the general quality of views that you regularly saw on the trip. I mean, there's a lot of hiking, but there was really around every corner something to be wowed by, and many hiking trips we're on don't have that built in, and so it was pretty special. Lots for the eyes to take in, especially on that day where we got a little bit of snow that gave it a whole different look. So I think just the comprehensive views that we had every every day, and then the campsites also had those. So that was a high for me. Low-wise, I think it was just an individual brief moment for me when we were on, I think, on day 3. We had done quite a bit of a hike that day already, and then we got into some off-trail sections where it was just truly like straight up, straight down bouldering, and we were on our way down one of the sections, and you could see kind of our future for the next few days, which was many more boulders, and body was aching, sore. It took a lot of mental stamina to really process going down these things safely, and so I was just wishing I could be airlifted to the bottom at that moment. But once I got through that, I had a good night rest, was rejuvenated. The rest of it was very doable, but it was just kind of a little internal struggle that I had on that day. But other than that, I mean, the trip was spectacular, so much more highs than lows for me. Turn that around the other way out.
Oh man, I wanted to get some driving time. Boise Twin Falls here. Highs and lows for me. We'll start with highs. I think it was getting to the top of Douglas Peaks Pass, which was our first off-trail pass. And I think that was for a couple reasons. One, being it was kind of like the point in the trip where if we couldn't get over this pass, we would basically kind of have to backtrack the rest of the trail, which would pretty much derail most of the plans that we had, and that would have been really unfortunate. And it was a little bit sketchier than I had anticipated. I don't think I ever felt like in danger or anything, but it was borderline at times at the top. So we had to kind of slowly and methodically maneuver our way from big rock to big rock to make sure it was safe the entire time. So I think once we got to the top of that, I felt like a big relief. And also looking into the valley that we were about to explore was pretty amazing. So that was definitely a high point for me. A low point, I didn't have a lot of low points. There's a few things you could choose from, but one of them I think, at least a semi-low moment, was right before we summited or got to this pass. We made a little bit of a mistake and started heading up the wrong pass. And we did that for probably like 45 minutes or an hour of straight bouldering. And once we realized we were on the wrong pass, we had to come back down. It was kind of demoralizing because this was the point we were just leaving the trail. Things weren't necessarily looking the best. The mood wasn't the best for everybody. But then not long after that, we were able to summit or get to that next pass. So it was all good. All right, moving on to Grant here, the driver.
Okay. Yeah, I'll start with lows, and I'll start off by saying there was not many lows on this trip. This trip went really well. But overall, I think expectations for me were high in terms of seeing some big animals, and the lack of wildlife, I think, was a low for considering expectations coming into a remote section of Wyoming. So maybe the one low for me, lack of big game wildlife. In terms of highs, there are many to choose from. First thing comes to mind is the snow we had on the morning, our first morning. 2.5 to 3 inches of fresh snow. Started off as Dippin' Dots, turned to rain, and then big flakes that just continued to come down for close to over an hour. Where we just kind of hunkered down in our tents and heavy tarp systems. So that was pretty neat. It was lightning and thundering right on top of us as the snow's coming down, and that was just wild. And so then getting up after that storm and seeing the scenery is and will be unforgettable. Maybe one other thing about this trip I think is a high is the high level of adventure that we had. Around every turn there was scenic views, and the trail was tough at times, and picking a route on the boulders, there's a level of adventure that comes with that. For me, it's really enjoyable.
Especially navigating that last alpine lake was a big challenge.
All right, wrapping up here. It was rompy.
All right, start off with the lows, and I think the biggest low for me was just our big kerfuffle at the beginning, trying to figure out what we're going to do, and not exactly knowing what the plan was. The original plan was to stay in Idaho, head over to Alex Toxaway, and do a loop there. Due to the smoke, rerouted, went to the Wind River Range.
7-hour drive instead of a 3-ish.
Yeah, 7-hour drive. Turned out it was a real good decision, but just not having intel on the lakes for fishing and the route planning was, it takes a little bit of the control out of our hands, and a little bit less ability to plan for each day. So that was a little bit challenging mentally to know how many matches to burn at one time in terms of energy. So it was a little bit more of a just itinerary issue than anything else. But glad we avoided the smoke. And for highs, I would say that this trip was unique in that every campsite was just phenomenal from my standpoint. Overlooking water, close to water, easy access to water, looking at lakes, beautiful views. No complaints there, and to have that ability just to kind of nab these up on a whim, I think was a pretty unique aspect to this trip. So I will say that.
That's a wrap for our 2024 annual backpacking trip.